Welcome to Access Granted, the podcast powered by Ablr. I'm your host, Mike Iannelli, and today we have one of my favorite people in the world, who also happens to be my co-founder, back for a meaningful conversation. In this episode, we'll hear all about John Samuel's TED Talk experience. We'll discuss learnings over the years of building a disability inclusion-focused business and learn more about the hearts behind our mission. Let's jump right in.
You did a TED Talk, which to me, that's the pinnacle of a presentation. Talk about that experience, because being on stage with that badge behind you and telling your story, what was that like? What was that moment like?
It's kind of surreal because I never thought about doing a TED Talk. And it was Sharon Delaney McLeod, who
love Sharon,
our dear friend Sharon, who was one that said, "You have a TED Talk in you." And, she's like, well, we're going to apply. We need to apply. Let's just apply. And we applied to a couple, and I didn't get any responses. And I was like, I don't really have an idea where Sharon, they think. So I was like, because I didn't have any, it wasn't something like a goal. I wasn't like, I need to do this. I just kind of let it go. And Sharon was not going to let it go. And so one day Sharon was at a networking event, and the organizers of TEDx Raleigh were at this event, and Sharon's talking to them and saying, "Oh, you missed out on the best story ever." And they're like, who, what? And then they're like, "Oh, we'll put him in the next TEDx." So that's how I got in. So my TEDx experience was a little bit different. And, but when I got there, Sharon really kind of coached me. She helped me figure out my story and understand the why. And so we talked about the idea of belonging. So inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. And because this was my kind of talking point, we kept on talking about DEI, and it was really accessibility and disability inclusion was not necessarily part of the talk track. And this was an opportunity to talk about that on the TEDx stage, and to really kind of put in that focus of accessibility, why we need to be thinking about accessibility in the context of DEI. And so it was a really amazing experience. But I didn't realize the impact that my TED Talk would make until I met this young lady, Aditi Rao, a sixth grader in Raleigh, and she has a visual impairment. And she saw my TED Talk and was inspired by it. And just a couple of weeks ago, she did her own TEDx Youth Talk.
What?
And she crushed it. Aditi's, speech just brought me to tears. I'm sitting there. And that's when I realized that, when I talk, maybe someone else was impacted by it, and she was impacted by it. Now I'm getting it. And it's like this full circle moment. And now I didn't understand the magnitude of it. Now I do. And it's pretty special.
I didn't know that, man. We need to talk more. I didn't know that. And you need to send that to me, because I'd love to see it.
I just posted on LinkedIn today. So,
you did? Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Well,
So
I'll
go
check it out.
Yeah.
John, as we sort of kind of begin to wrap up a little bit, you and I have come through a lot together, and we have not done this alone by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of amazing people out there at the Walk West squad, at the LCI squad. Jeffrey in our past, who was a big believer in what we were doing. Don and Patrick and the whole crew of believers, in the mission. Now, every part of this has been earned every step of the way. And, you're a smart guy. And I think there's a lot of people out there that can benefit from your words. And so as you look back on the past and you remember some of those very specific moments that you have had, whether it's at a restaurant or in a car or on the phone, but we've had probably 4 or 5 of these over the 5 years. But what are some of the things that you could, pass along, some of the things that you've learned, because you've been through a lot, man, and we all have. And I agree. There's no joy without suffering. And I think that's a hard lesson to learn. It's a painful lesson to learn, but it's a lesson worth learning. What are some of the things, just some points or some thoughts that you might, some of your wisdom in terms of what you've been through, because it's an important thing. And I think some of your knowledge can help some others along the way.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of lessons learned, whether it be from, from a business perspective, from a life perspective. You talk about the car, the talks we had in the car and restaurants, because that was a pivotal moment in our business. You and I had a meeting with our team, what we called our leadership team at that time. There was around 5 of us, 5 or 6 of us at that time. And we had gotten bigger. We grew faster than, really fast. We grew fast and And we brought on people with really great resumes, and we thought that this is what we needed. And I remember in that meeting, there was a lot of tears, a lot of yelling, just kind of, and it showed the chaos of our team. And at that moment, I went into that call, and you and I it was in person actually. You and I were sitting across the table, and I was talking to you, and I don't think I was ever candid, that radical candor. You and I never had that conversation. And as we were talking and having this difficult conversation, it struck me, because at the end of that meeting, the team really felt like we were just broken. And you and I went in the car to go to this restaurant to meet with the team. And I remember sitting in the car and talking to you, just you and I having this really candid conversation and saying that I think it's just going to be you and me, man, at the end of the day. And it kind of reminds me, because I had this conversation with this other person who told me the people who you trust will be there by your side at the end of the day. And, out of that group of 6 people, the 3 who are left are you, me, and Kim. And that's the people who I trusted, because I could have real conversations with. And so one piece of advice I would say in business is put people who you can trust, who you can have radical candor, and who can take that, because it's underlying is a level of caring. And I think that that's something I couldn't have had with the other people on the team at that time. It was that radical candor. They may have had great resumes.
Great resumes.
Great people.
But fit, right?
The fit, but then the trust, the underlying caring, and being able to have that real conversations. I don't think I had that with those individuals. It just wasn't the right time. And I think that's what helped us. So really, when you're building a team, don't look necessarily for resumes or the best who look on paper, but find who's the best fit. Find the ones who fill those gaps, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to build a team, not a group of individuals. And then when you're talking about the personal side, the lesson that I learned is to stay positive. And it's kind of cliche, like, there's things will get better.
All the cliches are real. Is what I'm learning. They are all real.
And, you will keep going down. There will be new lows, but just staying positive in those dark times. And for me, was also sharing. Don't hold stuff in, because it can be very lonely. Talk to people, whether it be a therapist, whether it be a close confidant. Share what's going on. Talk through things. Because what you'll realize is that others will be able to empathize with you, because they're going through different things. It may not be the same thing you are, but they will benefit from hearing you. And if you can build that kind of communication, that trust with people, it's really special, and it'll help you get through those difficult times. So at the end of the day, I think both in business and life is build trust with people, be vulnerable, and communicate.
Reverend John Samuels, everyone. No, yeah. There's still a couple of things I want to ask you, but yeah, that's a good way. I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, John,
that's helped us.
It's helped us radically. I mean, but you got to be open to that, and that's the hard thing. And I think a lot of people, it's a tough thing to recognize that you're broken, or you're not who you thought or who you thought your ego was telling you were going to be. And I remember you saying, "Would you report to me?" I remember you saying that. Would you report to me? And at the time, we were sort of like these equal partners, and we're partners. It doesn't. Yeah. But the point was, and I remember that was in that meeting actually, and I was like, people were looking at me like, and I was like, where is this coming from? No, I'm not. We're partners, and I'm like, and I remember that feeling, and I got to tell you, that was a humbling moment for me, because the whole time I'm thinking, well, it's funny when it's just so funny when your ego gets in the way. It really just destroys things. But when you can recognize that you're just a human being, and you screw up and you mess up and you hurt people and you don't mean to, but you do, and you hurt yourself, and you're just insecure and scared, really. Yeah. But my point in this is that the best decision that I ever made was to recognized that my piece of the puzzle was not to be the CEO. My piece of the puzzle was to follow. And bro, I've been following you, man, from whenever that moment really clicked. But I'll tell you, as someone who has come from an ego land, kind of sounds like Legoland, but an ego land, to watch what you've done, man, to see the vision, to see the leadership. We all make mistakes. We're all human, but dude, it has been an incredible honor to watch, man. Like just everything that you have said and we've discussed has all come to fruition. And so it leads me to my last question, kind of, and I still want to talk about your shades. We might do that too. But the last question that I have for you really is about, like, what do you see when you and you and I are both learning about meditation. You've taught me a lot about that, and spirituality and faith and all these things that, probably people listening to this are probably like, what does this have to do with? But it has everything to do with Ablr. It has everything to do with our team. It has everything to do with life. But when you look out on the horizon, and what do you like, not what do you see, but what do you feel with Ablr, with John Samuel, with everything that we're doing with disability inclusion, with etiquette, with accessibility, with DEI? Like, what do you feel in your bones? I
mean, I appreciate everything you've been saying. Again, we've been doing this together. Our team has been doing this. And I think that as we start to look at, the future of the business, you and I talked about this in the early days of having different Ablr, like Ablr Works, Ablr,
Plus,
Fit, Ablr
Advantage,
Plus,
Assurance,
right. There's all
360.
these 360, right? There's all these.
By the way, I
different...
love naming these things.
I know it's
so fun.
Yeah. But when we start to think about the holistic experience of somebody with a disability, right? Whether it be from a corporate perspective of like talking about marketing, right? Because we're working with an amazing firm here at Burt to do this podcast. They've been supporting us with our social. They've been doing a great job. And it goes back to this whole idea of proximity builds empathy, right? Mm-hmm. The more time, we learned about them from their work with 321 Coffee, right? They are working with a mission-driven organization. We saw the work that they were doing with them and said, this is an organization that aligns with us. And so when we think about the future of our business, we think about how can we align with other businesses that are mission-driven, mission alignment with us. So I think there's a lot of different ways we can go, whether it be marketing, whether it be finance, investment, because given that financial independence, how can we build wealth for people? Whether they're investing in organizations who are investing in entrepreneurs with disabilities, and then we also talk about fitness, mental health. These are things that we talk about internally on our team. I wish we could record the conversations we have on our Friday mullet meetings, right? For those of you who don't know, our Friday mullet meetings are business up front and party in the back.
Yeah,
right?
And we party.
We party. We got DJ Angus Cola, just DJ Angus Cola playing some tunes and us dancing. But the conversation. We got
Kim. I got a picture of Kim dancing.
Hands up.
And hands up. And it was gonna be the picture that we put on Casey's Corner, which is in the newsletter now, new section for Casey's Corner. But for those of you that don't know, Kim almost refuses for the most part to ever go on camera. And I think for the first 2 years I never even knew what she looked like, but until we met. But we got her on camera dancing. The whole crew was. And sorry, go back. The mullet meetings are phenomenal.
But we talk a lot about things that are going on in our life, whether it be mental health. We talk about, that's the thing about our team, is so we're open about it. We talk about fitness. We talk about health. My man right here has been, as we're walking into the studio today, I'm grabbing onto Mike, walking into the building. I'm like, dude, I can feel your muscles, bro. Like, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing the fitness. And
you're an influence, man.
No, but
I'm coming for you, bro.
Kim Casey influenced me, right? Yeah. And that's the thing, is
she was doing yoga this morning at 5 a.m. just an FYI.
Right? Exactly. And it's those things that we all influence each other, and for the good ways, right? The good things that we influence each other. And I think if we can help individuals in the disability community become healthier, financially healthier, mentally healthier, and health-wise healthier, like fitness, those are good things. And so, I think there's a lot of directions we can take Ablr, but we're not going to be able to do it by ourselves. It's going to come with partnerships. It's going to come with, finding great partners who can help us expand and offer new offerings. Because, what we're doing is creating a more inclusive environment and removing barriers for people with disabilities. Remember, our mission is, remove barriers for people with disabilities in all aspects of life. And when you have that type of mission, there's so many ways we can take this. So I think the future is bright for us, and it's a green field out there for us. And I'm glad to be on that journey with you, brother.
Man, you have no idea how grateful I am, man. I really am. Yeah, we're heading down to the greener pastures, my friend. And I see so many wonderful things for our community, our mission, our advocate, our team. I just think, God, what's it going to look like? What's our team going to look like? And I'm excited. And before we wrap, I just want to do a shout out to Nicole and Eli and Ethan. I don't know if they're going to hear this, but Eli and Ethan are the coolest little dudes on the planet. I've got a couple other cool dudes on the planet too, but these guys are the coolest, and I thank you for allowing me to spend so much time with them. It's been a huge influence on my life being around you guys, and I also want to shout out just quick to my kids too, Poppy, Drew, and Pelton. This is sort of our first time second time together talking about the business, but in hopes that this will be public, and how grateful we are for our family and our friends and the people that have been our parents, the people that have believed in us, because it was a long time that people didn't. And I still remember the day, John, just making phone calls 4 years ago, and it was like what? And now it's, so-and-so referred us from Manscaped. It's like, oh my God, like really?
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you for every partner, every client, every advocate, every human being that is believing in a mission that's greater than themselves, and to join on with us. And John, thank you for being here, man. I'm just so grateful that you came on, man. I hope people hear the stories of what we're doing and what you're doing and what our team is doing, and really just jump on board, because when you change your perspective and when you experience things that you may not have ever experienced before, especially the kindness and the heart and caring for other people than yourself, it opens up a dimension I swear I tell people, it opens a window up to another world that you've never even known existed. And I think I'm becoming proof of that. I think Ablr's becoming proof of that. And I love you, my brother. I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you. And thank you all for being part of this Access Granted podcast today. Johnny Sams has an amazing book. Don't Ask the Blind Guy for Directions. It's an incredible book, and I think it'll change your life. But John, I love you, brother. Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you. And hit subscribe on this podcast, because it is, amazing, and I love it, bro. And congratulations on the success of this.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Access Granted. After 3 heartfelt conversations with my co-founder, I just want to say that hosting this podcast is an incredible honor, and I'm truly, deeply grateful for the chance to share such meaningful conversations with inspiring guests who are dedicated to making the world a more inclusive place for everyone. I'm continually thankful for the unwavering support of our partners, our amazing team, and especially John Samuel, whose leadership, love, and brilliance guide us all. Until next time, keep fighting the good fight.